Hey yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than what I'm used to. This is going to be a video about the recent John Wall and Russell Westbrook trade. And if you didn't hear about it, about 4 days ago, the Washington Wizards and the Houston Rockets recently traded John Wall. Sorry, the Washington Wizards recently traded John Wall and a first round pick to Houston in return for Russell Westbrook. And I'm going to be getting my opinion on it, what I think this is going to mean for Washington and how it's going to affect them when it comes to the later future. And I'm going to talk about the Houston Rockets with John Wall because I've never said this before, but I am a big Washington Wizards fan. I grew up watching them, and I'm in the Washington area. I live in Virginia, so I've always watched sorry, not the Rockets. Sorry, the Wizards. I've always been a fan of them, and I've always watched them ever since I was young, about like 5 years old. I've been watching them, and I grew up basically watching John Wall with the Washington Wizards. He spent about 10 years with us before finally getting traded, but he didn't play for us for the last two of those 10 years. He played for us for a total of 8 seasons, but missed 2 years, almost 2 years of the 10 years he was with us. And Wall is one of my favorite players of all time. He meant a lot to me, and I'm sure without a doubt a lot to the city of Washington and the organization. He brought a lot of success to us and made the Wizards a well-known team after just years and years of being actually just terrible because we drafted like Kwame Brown and we had like that whole Michael Jordan era, and then we had the Gilbert Arenas era, and that ended very quickly. Um, but Wall really meant a lot to me, and I'm sure a lot to the Washington Wizards organization and the city. It's sad to see him go, but now let's just get into the talk of the trade. So let me read this again. Washington Wizards trade guard John Wall for a first round pick to receive Russell Westbrook from Houston in return. And at first, I was upset because I didn't want them to trade John Wall. I thought this was going to be a bad trade because of Russell Westbrook's playoff history, and I'll run by it. And this is going to be post KD playoff history, not like when he was playing with KD from like 2008 to 2016. He played for KD for a while, and then KD left to go join the Wizards. Oh, sorry, not the Wizards. The Warriors, and there was 3 straight seasons where he played with the Thunder post KD, and in those 3 straight seasons they made the playoffs, and each one Russell Westbrook lost in the first round in 5 games each time, 3 straight seasons. And the first season he played against James Harden and the Houston Rockets, and the season after that he played against the Utah Jazz, and he actually was able to get Paul George on his team. So everyone, and then he played Portland, and then lost 5 games in that series as well. So Russell Westbrook and the Thunder were always considered like true title contenders. They could win a championship with this Russell Westbrook and Paul George duo, but it never did. And I guess they just never found. I guess they just never found how to figure things out and how to win a series. But basically Russell Westbrook has had a lot of not so great playoff series in playoff history ever since KD left the Thunder to join the Warriors. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't want him to come to Washington. But now that I think about it, this is a great trade for Washington because John Wall has been injured for almost 2 years. The last time he played was 2018. No, it was 26th of December of 2018. That was the last time he played before he went down with a heel injury, and then after that season he went down with an Achilles tear. So he got silent for almost 2 years total. So after that injury, I can understand Washington's concern on whether or not they want to continue this John Wall era with Bradley Beal, because Bradley Beal was starting to break out as an all-star caliber player. He was really becoming a very good scorer. He averaged about 30 back in 2019, and in this 2020 season, he averaged like 30, 31 points, which no one really expected because Beal was always like that guy that John Wall could like hand the ball to and score consistently, score like maybe like 20 points, just on a daily night. But when John Wall left, I mean got sidelined due to injury, Bradley Beal just started breaking out and was like a really efficient scorer and if you put the ball in his hands, he was going to score almost every single time. So the Wizards had to make a decision whether or not to keep John Wall and stick in this era with him, with Beal's, upcoming all-star caliber stardom or whatever. They were concerned on whether or not to keep him or not because he had his Achilles tear. So I can understand why they thought it was the best idea to trade him, because they didn't know what they were going to get from John Wall. John Wall has been sidelined for almost 2 years, ever since December 26th of 2018, and it's just like they didn't know if they were going to make the playoffs, if John Wall was going to play well, if he was going to play okay or even terrible. No one ever knew that. I mean, it's an Achilles tear. This is like a possible career-ending injury. So I can understand the concern with that. So let's flip the script now. Let's go to the Houston Rockets. So the Houston Rockets had a pretty decent season with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. They seemed like pretty well after they seemed pretty good. Like they can make a pretty good playoff run, maybe in a deep one, after they went small. But then the pandemic happened, and then the bubble had to they had to stop the season for a while and then continue the season with the bubble. So that's understandable why they. No, sorry, what am I saying? They won after the bubble. I mean, sorry, after the pandemic and the bubble came back, the Houston Rockets weren't the same they were, because Russell Westbrook recently had a COVID case. Like, he recently got caught the coronavirus. So his explosiveness and his athleticism wasn't really there, and you could see it in the two playoff series that he played in. He wasn't playing very well, and you could see that within the OKC playoff series and the Lakers playoff series. In OKC, they almost lost in 7 games, which was this team that Russell Westbrook left, and they made like the 5th seed without him. They almost lost in 7 games, and after that, they went against the LA Lakers, and they lost in 5 games. And they took game 1 because Russell Westbrook was playing pretty well, but after that 4 straight games they just messed up and they just choked. They did not play well. But you could definitely see what the problem was, and it was definitely the fact that Russell Westbrook was just not the same as he once was. He wasn't as explosive, he wasn't as fast. But here, I'll show a clip right now. You can see it on the screen right now. Russell Westbrook, um, he's about like a couple inches away from his head is about a couple inches away from the rim. Like, this man definitely has his athleticism back after training and stuff for a couple of months. So let's go back to Washington. So the Washington Wizards thought they didn't want to take a risk on John Wall, because if he came back and played really bad, there was no way they're gonna be able to get out of his contract and him playing as well as he used to. So they decided to flip him for Russell Westbrook. So now let's talk about this new team with Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. So Bradley Beal obviously has been playing very well, and Russell Westbrook is a very good playmaker and can attack the rim. He can't shoot threes that well, but he has been working on his jump shot. But we hear this every single time in the postseason. Russell Westbrook working on his jump shot, and everyone thinks he's going to start shooting well, but he doesn't. He shoots okay, but like you can leave him open and you still won't make it consistently. But he definitely has his explosiveness back. But now with Bradley Beal, with not John Wall. Now with Russell Westbrook, this could be a really good duo, because Bradley Beal can play off ball. He knows how to play off ball and not be the ball dominant guy that everyone thinks he can be. He can literally just let Russell Westbrook go to work, and he can just get his touches whenever Russell Westbrook needs a break or he's on the bench. So that seems pretty good on paper. Russell Westbrook can do whatever he wants, because he wanted Houston because he wanted out of Houston because he didn't feel like he fit the system, and he wanted to be the primary ball handler again. So that's good. Russell Westbrook can be that primary ball handler. He can be that floor general that he wants to be. And Bradley Beal can just be a spot up. He can be a 3-and-D player when he's on the court. When he's not on the court, he can do whatever he wants. It seems like a great duo on paper. And that's one of the things that excites me as a Wizards fan, to see how this pairing is going to work. And it seems like it's going to be pretty good, because Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook are two really good players. Bradley Beal's an all-star, and Russell Westbrook is an MVP. So it's exciting to see what they can do, and it's gonna be I'm hoping this is gonna be a great season with the Wizards and what I'm gonna be seeing from Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. But now let's go to the Houston Rockets. So the Houston Rockets have John Wall now with James Harden, and I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but if John Wall could play at least like 80% of what he used to be, then maybe this could keep James Harden from leaving. Because if you didn't know this, James Harden has openly said that he wants out of Houston because he doesn't feel like this team is gonna lead him anywhere in his career anymore. But I guess the Houston Rockets want to keep him in Houston for now and wait until like maybe the All-Star break or near the trade deadline or in the middle of the season before the trade deadline is up to get some valuable assets in return. So it's it's gonna be a surprise either way. Either John Wall's gonna play terrible, he's gonna play great, or he's gonna play okay. So if John Wall can play okay or even great, then maybe that could have not Russell Westbrook, sorry, James Harden stay with the Houston Rockets because he won an MVP with them and he almost brought him to the finals with Chris Paul. So if that duo can work out, then this team could be a pretty good team. They could be like a second round Western Conference Finals team that can make it to those two rounds consistently each season. But it's just the thing is that Russell Westbrook, fuck, I keep saying Russell Westbrook, John Wall tore his Achilles. So that's just something that you have to always consider and be concerned about. So, me personally, if I'm going to choose a team that won this trade, I have to go without a doubt. The Washington Wizards won this trade. Not by a long shot, but they definitely did win this trade pretty well because they didn't know what they were going to get from John Wall. John Wall tore his Achilles, and they didn't want to take a risk on him just for him to, eventually maybe end up playing terrible, and then they had to stick with him for the next 3 seasons with his terrible contract and him not playing well. So it's understandable why they wanted to let him go, but it still upsets me that they did because he was just a great player back in the day, and he was a great person for the community. And it's just sad to see him go, but that's my opinion on this recent trade. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And here's an extra clip that I got. I thought it was pretty funny. I made it myself, so yeah, enjoy this clip. Anyway, see you guys.